Welcome home to the Minnesota Twins after a 6-game road trip. It's a quick pit stop. Just 3 games this weekend against the Tampa Bay Rays, and then right back on the road for 5 more as we take a look at the weekend series. We'll start with the Minnesota Twins, who the last couple of years really struggled at home, but the home cooking has been tasty of late. The Twins are 12-5 at Target Field. Best percentage in the American League for Tampa Bay. Same old story, defense and pitching. They've won 3 straight. They have a .615 winning percentage on the road, surprising everybody in baseball. And for both teams, managers in their rookie season, Kevin Cash, actually a battery mate of Phil Hughes back in 2009, squares off against Paul Molitor. It should be a very intriguing series this weekend. Welcome inside the ballpark. A gorgeous night for baseball. The clouds have moved away. The sun is shining. And the fans are excited because the Minnesota Twins are back on target here at home. Look at the numbers. They are tearing it up at Target Field. That win percentage at .756. We talked about that already. But the runs in a ballpark not known for run scoring have been there for the Minnesota Twins. 5.82 runs per game. The offense is clicking here at Target Field, and they'll try to support Phil Hughes. Their ace last year is a little bit off his game so far this year. We come back. Dick Bramer and Jack Morris show us how he can get back on track and shut down the Rays. We start a 3-game series next on Fox Sports North.
Is presented by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. By Jeep. Come discover great deals during the Jeep Drive and Discover event. And by Budweiser. Brewed the hard way. This Bud's for you.
Both the Rays and the Twins are off to good starts this year. Both teams have shown improvement in the pitching department. Jake Odorizzi has been very good for the Rays. He'll make the start in the series opener against right-hander Phil Hughes for the Minnesota Twins. And it's a good Friday night here at Target Field, a brief homestand. Dick Bramer joined by Jack Morris. This game is all about adjustments. And I think, Jack, what we've seen is the American League is adjusting to the success that Phil Hughes had last year.
No question. We talk about it all the time, and his pitching coach knows better than anybody. We talked to Neil Allen before the game, and he said Phil Hughes is always around this part of the plate, right in the strike zone all the time with his fastball, and he understands that the other team is starting to be aware of that. Take a look at some of the mistake pitches that Phil has made this year. These are the home run pitches that he's given up, way more than all of last year combined. But Phil was very good at hitting the perimeter of the strike zone with his fastball with his success last year. So he really needs to break in some other pitches. There's the curveball. See how that hitter just straightens right up, and for any other reason, just to get it over, start the sequence of pitches with that breaking ball is something his pitching coach would like to see.
Twins have improved in the pitching department. So have the Rays. David Price is gone. Jeremy Hellickson gone. Some of the other names you might think of in this Tampa Bay pitching department are hurt. Somehow they've managed a way to continue to pitch well.
You know, this organization has done it for quite a few years. I credit their pitching coach, Jim Hickey, for being very, very good, especially with young pitchers and the changeup. But yeah, they put on a different number and a different name, and they still get great results. Look at those numbers, where they are as far as their starting pitchers and bullpen. It's pretty impressive.
Well, not long a homestand at all. Just 3 games. The Twins have had 2 winning homestands so far this year. They'd like to win this series against the Rays before they head back out onto the road. Their wheels at home, Minnesota may have finally found a feel for Target Field. Tonight, the Twins look to keep it cooking at home against the Rays.
I feel electric. I feel electric. I feel electric. I feel electric with you. You got me singing, baby. I feel electric.
Twins take the field, the first of 3 with the Tampa Bay Rays, hoping to win this series. Hoping to respond after a disappointing loss in the road trip finale in Detroit yesterday. Kevin Cash in his first year as manager of the Rays, replacing Joe Madden, who of course went to the Chicago Cubs, and to the surprise of just about everybody in baseball, Jack, Here are the Rays, 4 games above 500, a little bit better record than the Twins, and just a game out of first in the East.
It is truly amazing, all the transitions that have happened over the years in Tampa and all the things that are happening with their attendance, and yet they still produce guys that can pitch the baseball.
Recognize too many of these names. Kevin Kiermaier, their leadoff batter, Steven Souza Jr., Evan Longoria, James Loney, Logan Forsythe, David DeJesus, a veteran, Asdrubal Cabrera, a veteran, Joey Butler, and former Twin Rene Rivera. Rays come into this series on a bit of a high note. They lost the opener of a 4-game series with the Yankees, then won the last 3 ball games.
And you can see the numbers there for Phil Hughes. He is making his 8th start of the year. Won his last outing against Cleveland, where he pitched 6+ innings. Has really kind of been the beneficiary of good run support his last 2, where the first 4 not so much.
Twins have only lost 4 series this year, 3 to the Tigers and 1 to the Royals. And they avenged the Royals series loss by winning an earlier series against Kansas City. A high fastball, swing and a miss. We see teams do that more so than they did a year ago, Jack, trying to jump on that first pitch fastball.
Well, the word is out, and Phil throws a lot of fastballs, but he's had success just like that right there. You throw it over, you don't walk anybody. Phil's walks are way down. You get results like that. First hitter, first out.
Northland Fort defense for the Twins. Eduardo Escobar has already made 1 putout. Aaron Hicks in center, Torrey Hunter in right. Lou Santana, Dozier, and Mauer, the infielders, and the Iron Man, Kurt Suzuki, working on his second 1,000 games. 1 down quickly, and here's Steven Souza Jr. And a fastball down the middle of strike.
I guess if you're Phil Hughes, you say, you know what, until they prove that they can hit my fastball, that's my go-to pitch. I'm going to throw it over.
There have been games, and 2 starts ago was one of them against the Oakland A's. The A's jumped on Hughes early in the first inning, filled the bases. Stephen Vogt hit a grand slam, and right away the A's were up 4-0. Now the Twins came back, won the ball game. In fact, Hughes got the win. Now a swing and a miss, and it's 1-2. Hughes won his last start in Cleveland and had 5 shutout innings, and then Indians had a good 5th and 6th inning, or 6th and 7th inning, ended up knocking him out of the game.
And I think that's the key for Phil is, you know, he's going along for quite some time and he's pitching well, and then all of a sudden, unlike last year, he has that quick boom, 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 a couple runners on, a base hit, maybe a big fly, and you know, all of a sudden he doesn't have the good number where overall the effort was good.
Might have been a breaking ball there on 1 and 2 off the plate. 2-2. Drilled about a foot foul, and it's still 2-2.
I guess from the pitching coach's standpoint, I had a long talk with Neil Allen before the game, not only about his starter today, but about a lot of the young pitchers that he was personally had hands-on experience with when he was a minor league coach for the Rays.
Foul tip.
And as far as Phil's concerned, you know, he's very aware, and Phil's very aware that the league knows that he throws a lot of fastballs. And I guess the way I look at it, it was like everybody knew that I threw a lot of fastballs, and for me, I wanted to go through the entire batting order with 1 pitch if I could, and to see what they did off of that fastball.
Another breaking ball, 2-hopper to Plouffe. And by a step, Souza is retired, 2 down. So we've already seen him mix in, 3 breaking balls, I believe, here in the first 2
And I think, you know, maybe he was paying attention, because I know that Neil Allen has talked to him about this. You don't have to even throw it for a strike. Just show it and get those hitters thinking about it. You want them to have that thought in their mind that he's got more than 1 pitch. And that was pretty much a get-me-over breaking ball there, but a good result.
2 down, and now here's Evan Longoria. Popped up right center field. Hicks wants it. He's got it. A clean 1-2-3 first inning for Phil Hughes. back on the road for a week. Paul Mullen are very happy with the team's performance at home. 2 winning homestands, and the last homestand, best homestand the Twins have had here in a long time. They went 8-3. The Menards batting order for the opener here with the Rays. Brian Dozier, the birthday boy, leading things off. Torrey Hunter, Joe Mauer, Trevor Plouffe, Kurt Suzuki, Eduardo Escobar, Kenny Vargas, Aaron Hicks, and Danny Santana.
And they'll be facing the right-hander, Jake Odorizzi. He's been pretty remarkable in all of his 7 starts prior to tonight's game. He's gone into the 7th inning. He's the only pitcher in the American League to do so. So that shows his maturity as he's getting a feel for this American League.
Dozier swings through a fastball, strike 1. Brian Dozier turning 28 years of age today.
Man, that's getting up there.
I think Brian's a little older than most fans. Here's a ball hit to right center field. Hit to the gap. Souza near the warning track makes the catch. Brian might be a year or 2 older than most fans would think. You have to remember he went through college and spent some time in the minor leagues.
I guess younger than that.
1 down. Here's the Northland Ford defense for the Rays, and they are really, really good. They haven't had an error made by their shortstop yet this year. Butler, Kiermaier, Souza in the outfield. Longoria, Cabrera, Forsythe, Loney, the infielder, and Rivera behind the plate. Here's Torrey Hunter. And Torrey drops one into center field and down for a hit. Haven't seen teams do this before, or what the Rays did. The bat didn't last long, but they had the second baseman swung over to the third base side of second base, a pull shifter for the right-handed batter.
And Torrey Hunter, he can shoot the ball to right field. I think he's very aware of it. But as you saw by the pitch there from Odorizzi, he was pitching to the shift, trying to get it inside on Torrey, and it's a lot harder to inside out that swing and shoot it to right than pull the ball.
Joe Mauer did not have a good road trip. He'd like to have a good homestand here. Hunter at first, 1 away. We showed you a lot of numbers regarding the Rays pitching staff, not specifically Odorizzi, but an opponent batting average for the staff of .218. That is just incredible.
Well, those are the reasons that man right there is inherited a pretty good baseball team. 1 game behind the Yankees in the American League East.
Smothered by Rivera, 1-1.
20 wins, 16 losses for Tampa right now. You throw great pitching and solid defense, only 12 errors all year, #1 in the American League with the glove. And they say pitching and defense, right? That wins you a lot of ball games. Well, they're proof that it can happen.
Ground ball right side, through for a hit. Hunter will round second base and gain third base. Long throw, and now Mauer will go to second base. A very poor decision by Souza. He had no chance to get Torrey Hunter at third, and he allowed Mauer to go to second base.
Heads up base running right there by Joe Mauer. He was reading that throw, and once Souza decided to airmail it all the way to third base in Longoria, Joe was fast enough to read it and understand that he can bust over to second base. No cutoff man involved. Had it gone to the shortstop Cabrera, they might have had a chance for Mauer at second.
Good chance for the Twins to break out on top here. Second and third, 1 out. Here is Trevor Plouffe. If the Twins are able to do some damage against Odorizzi, it figures to happen in situations like this. In his last start, he allowed the first home run he's allowed all year. He keeps the ball in the ballpark, so you wouldn't expect the Twins to do a lot of damage with the long ball, but now he's going to stand up there with a 2-0 count.
Yeah, went 44 2/3 innings without giving up a home run. Geez, if Bert and I had done that in our careers, we might still be pitching.
2-0 to Plouffe. Infield playing back. They'll concede a run, and they're playing Plouffe to pull in the infield as well. There's a strike. We saw this with Joe Madden. Kevin Cash is doing the same thing. You can see the second baseman Forsythe now lined up right behind the second base bag. but then you have to pitch, as you said, to the shift. We've
Right.
seen Trevor use the whole field quite well in the last year and a half. Strike call, 2-2. Plouffe looks back at Andy Fletcher.
Now that right there was the slider away. Odorizzi's got a very good fastball. Neil Allen was talking to Tim Laudner and I before the game about his stuff. He said he's always been able to throw his fastball. It's pretty straight, but he can hit all 4 quadrants of the plate.
That landed 5 feet in front of the plate. 3-2 with a base open and Suzuki on deck.
Not too many guys that can hit that pitch, but Kirby was one of them.
Hey, Yogi Berra turned 90 the other day. They said he could. He was one of the best bad ball hitters of all time. I don't know if it was that bad, but
It's tough to hit one that bounces. I saw Puck do it, though.
full count to Plouffe. Twins with a threat here in the first inning.
Big at bat already in this game right here. Only 1 out. You got runners in scoring position. It's a whole different ball game if you can get Plouffe out here and have 2 outs to work with.
Struck him out up and in with a fastball, 2 down.
He likes to elevate that pitch. That's one thing that the Rays organization has taught their pitchers is to change eye levels. They really want and force kids in the minor league level to throw that fastball up and waste it up high and see if you can get the hitter to chase out of the zone. It'll work for him right there.
So Rivera's target was down and away, and the pitch was delivered up and in. Here's Suzuki. The Twins will need a 2-out hit here to cash in. Missing inside, ball 1.
That's one of my favorite angles to watch a baseball game. Of course, being a former pitcher, I just like to see the command that every pitcher has, but you can really learn a lot from a guy and what he gets away with by watching the catcher when he sets up and whether or not that pitcher hits his glove consistently.
Little roller to the right side. Easy play for Forsythe. The Twins threaten, don't score, get a couple of hits, and we have no score after 1 inning. To the solitude of the Gunflint Trail in the pristine wilderness of the Boundary Waters Canoe area. Plan a trip you'll never forget. Visit exploreminnesota.com. Discover a world that's only in Minnesota. Share and tag your Minnesota experiences with hashtag #OnlyInMN. From Grand Marais, the 57-mile Gunflint Trail leads through forests. You can look for moose, bald eagles, loons, falcons, and hawks. It's beautiful up there. The only time I've been up there has been in the fall. And to see some of the fall colors up there,
Gorgeous.
it's absolutely gorgeous.
One of the prettiest places in this planet right there.
No score in the first. Here's James Loney, takes up and away, ball one.
Well, there's a name that we're a little bit familiar with, Tampa Bay Rays. Loney's been their first baseman for quite some time now.
Fly to short center. Aaron Hicks ranging under it. One down. It's remarkable that the Rays went through the transitions, plural, that they went through this offseason, and then were hit with an incredible amount of injuries through the winter, through spring training, in the first weeks of the season.
It's almost mind-boggling to see that there's that many guys currently on the disabled list, and yet they're able to field a team that just won 3 out of 4 against the Yankees at home.
Matt Moore supposed to pitch in a simulated game here on Monday, not here, but in Florida. One down, and here's Logan Forsythe.
Yeah, Matt Moore, Alex Cobb, who is probably their best pitcher, and Drew Smyly, who they got through Detroit. You know, 3 great pitchers right there, and none of them right now are in the rotation.
Smiley's got a torn labrum, and that's a really serious injury. 2 strikes to Logan Forsythe, and the ball flared foul. Another breaking pitch.
Another breaking ball from Phil Hughes, and again changing that eye level, a little different look. I think this is what's going to open up the plate for him a little bit, showing it early in the game. Now he's going to go with the high fastball.
And it's fouled back.
I saw Suzuki, he wanted it up a little higher. That was about belt high.
Three fly ball outs and a ground ball out. Uses mixed in his pitches and not allowed a base runner as of yet. And another pop up. It'll be chased by Mauer, but it's back in the seats. Twins fans know all about the Twins in the American League Central, and the Twins have done well with everybody in the division except the Tigers. But in the American League East, you have 5 teams bunched together within 4 games of one another. And you could make an argument for any one of the 5 teams winning the division or any one of the 5 teams finishing last. Another fly ball should be caught by Hicks. And it's going to be Hunter instead, 2 down. And because of that, I suspect it's going to be a fascinating division to watch over the course of the year. The Red Sox have pitched horribly. They're 3.5 games out. And, you know, by the end of the year, those standings might be inverted. Yeah. The Orioles might win it. The Blue Jays might win it. It's hard to tell. It
really is. And I think there are people that love that about the game. They want everybody to have the same record. I'm not so sure.
Outside ball 1.
I don't know how to read that, is what I'm trying to say. I don't know as though the game's better by having somewhat parity, you know, where everybody's pretty much the same, or if you have the dynasty type teams and the poor teams. I don't know what's better.
Hit deep to right field, and this ball's up and back and gone. David DeJesus is now 7 for 11 with 2 home runs against Phil Hughes.
Well, we're going to take another look at this one here. David DeJesus. Phil Hughes is not the only guy that David DeJesus has done it well with. For a small guy, he's got some power, but look where that fastball is. You can't dot the center of the strike zone more than that one right there. And that's the thing that has really hurt Phil Hughes. He can be going along for quite some time, but when you're always throwing a lot of fastballs and they make a mistake, they don't miss those mistakes, not the good hitters.
Here's Asdrubal Cabrera. Hughes came to the Twins as a pitcher who frequently was victimized by the home run ball. And last year he gave up just 16 home runs. The one by DeJesus a moment ago, the 10th home run hit against Hughes already this year. Into short left, and Escobar comes in. Another fly ball out. The Rays get a home run from David DeJesus to take the first lead.
Part of 8 seasons with Tampa Bay, including some time with the Durham Bulls. He got to know this young staff quite well, including tonight's starter, Jake Odorizzi, and he had something to say about what this kid brings to the table every night.
Jake Odorizzi tonight, you're going to see him locate his fastball. He can throw his fastball to all quadrants of the plate. He's up and in, down the way on both sides with it. He's consistent with it. He got together recently in the last year or two, or 2 spring trainings ago with Alex Cobb. He learned how to throw a changeup from Alex Cobb, and he didn't have one. So he would struggle a little bit with his breaking ball and his fastball command with me in AAA. And then he got together with Alex Cobb. He learned how to throw a changeup. In the last 2 years, you can see the success he's had.
Also turned into Houdini there in the first guy. Second and third one out. He wiggled his way out just like a veteran. For a 25-year-old, the kid looks pretty good.
Thank you, Kevin. 1-1 to Eduardo Escobar, and now 2-1. Talking so much about a pitching coach and the influence that they can have on a pitcher. 2-1 to Escobar. The ball hit to the left field corner. It's deep. And just foul. But sometimes another pitcher can have a great influence. And as I remember the story, Milt Wilcox was instrumental in you finding and developing a split finger pitch.
Yeah, he had been a teammate of Bruce Suter's with the Cubs before he came to Detroit, and Suter had shown him how he had thrown his split finger forkball, and Milt was willing to help me. Both those guys right there, Neil Allen on the right, the Twins coach, Jim Hickey, the veteran pitching coach for Tampa Bay. I believe both of the great coaches. Jim Hickey, in my opinion, might be the best in baseball right now.
Pop up, and Cabrera out on the outfield grass makes the catch, 1 away.
But I think that's the whole point, Dick, and it's a good point to bring up, is that your good pitching coaches want all the pitchers to communicate with each other, to sit and watch the game, to bisect what's going on, maybe to talk about pitch selection, pitch location, every single game. And that's why you see the pitchers sitting together, and it's not only to tell jokes and talk about guys that can't hit, but you know, you want them to learn and communicate, and certainly that goes on. It has gone on since the beginning of time, probably will till the end of time.
That's a rocket into the corner. Vargas. The ball stays in the corner, and that will allow Vargas to go to second with a double. Good to see Vargas driving the ball. He's gotten some hits. His batting average not that bad at .250, but he hasn't really popped the ball as often as the Twins saw last year.
Well, it's really good to see him doing it from the left side. That's what he was struggling with early in the season. And like you said, he waited back on that breaking ball right there. He's so strong and so big. We stand around him during batting practice, and we, both you and I, over 6 feet tall, and he just makes us feel like little kids.
Here's Aaron Hicks off to a good start. 4 hits, 11 at bats. 3 of them from the left side of the plate. Off-speed pitch, strike 1.
Just a small sample size, but Aaron Hicks seems to be swinging the bat with a little more authority. He's driving the ball more. I think he's taking bigger hacks. And it's good to see him getting some base knocks.
Fouled away, and you can notice it at batting practice too. I made a point of studying Hicks in batting practice today, but I mean the ball goes someplace now. You know, and he's a very strong young man, and he's taking an aggressive hack at the ball, and when he hits it flush, it goes a long ways.
I was noticing the exact same thing in batting practice. He was hitting a couple balls in the upper deck in left field when he was batting right-handed. I didn't remember him doing that at all last year in batting practice.
Behind in the count here, 0-2, and now Rene Rivera will go to the mound. Twins trying to get the tying run here. They had a chance for the go-ahead run in the first inning, second and third, and only 1 out. Quick trip to the mound. Hicks hitting 8th, Santana 9th. Ball off the plate. We've talked about the leg kick. Hicks actually implemented it, he told me, last year when he gave up switch hitting. didn't have much of a leg kick, but when he was going righty on righty, he decided to go with a leg kick. Felt comfortable with it and now has implemented it from both sides of the plate. He's back to switch hitting, obviously, but it's something that he thought gave him a little more power generated in his swing.
Which I'm sure it does. The danger is the off-speed pitch, and whether your timing is such that you can wait long enough for those slow changeups.
Now down and away, 3-2.
You're putting all your weight on your back foot when you raise your front leg, and you've got to have balance, because if your body's starting to shift and go with it, that leg will drop. Then you've wasted your lower part of your body. Now you're swinging with all upper body. So it's all about timing.
Full count to Hicks with the tying run at second. And he got a piece of it. Talking with Twins great Tony Oliva, who was instrumental in getting Kirby Puckett to develop a leg kick. And he said in Puckett he had someone who was willing to change what he was doing to pull the ball more. Kirby was a mirror image, I guess, of what Joe Mauer was, you know, with opposite field base hit ability, but he didn't really pull the ball much. But the leg kick was instituted to get Kirby to pull the ball more with authority. And Hicks lifts another one foul. You have to have a willing pupil. If you're a hitting coach or a pitching coach, you have to have somebody willing to experiment a little bit.
I think more important than that is you got to look in the mirror and say this is not working, and then be willing to adjust. You know, and the one thing too that is in the hitting side of it is you still have to have a still head. Your eyes have to be calm. And if you're moving your head because you're lifting your leg, that's not going to be a good thing either. So there's a lot of ingredients, but it's worked for Kirby. Not so much right there for Hicks.
Hicks got an off-speed pitch and is a strikeout victim, out number 2. May 30th on DQ Sensational Saturday, the Twins are taking on the Blue Jays, and all fans will receive a Twins travel pillow courtesy of My Pillow. Go to twinsbaseball.com/tickets. Get your tickets today. The Twins, a couple of men in scoring position opportunities they haven't converted yet. We'll see what Santana can get done. In the dirt, blocked by Rivera. Vargas will advance to third. Not insignificant, because there are some singles to the outfield where Vargas might not be able to score, so he's able to take the extra base on ball 1.
Well, this is just good base running, and it's got to put a smile on his manager's face. Paul Molitor knows that Kenny Vargas does not have the greatest leg speed, but he still has moved around in the base passes because he's taken advantage of things that he knows that he can accomplish. And right there, maybe rolling the dice a little bit, but the ball got away from Rivera far enough that he was able to get to third.
2-0 now to Santana. Twins need to take advantage of the opportunities they have. The Rays as a team have 19 games this year where they've given up 2 runs or less, and 6 of their last 7 games they've given up 2 runs or less. Swing and a miss, 2-2.
Well, those again are all reasons that Tampa has done so well. They're currently on a 3-game winning streak, all against the Yankees. But you put up numbers like that, you're going to have success.
Another full count. Dozier on deck. Key for Santana, put the ball in play, preferably on the ground. Santana's case, even in hitting .319 last year, he struck out quite a bit, hitting .250 so far this year. 34 strikeouts and 124 at bats.
As we go through this series, I'm really going to be intrigued to see how many pitches are thrown up in the zone by the Rays pitchers when they're ahead in the count. And there's one again. And the reason I say that is Neil Allen was telling me that their organization-wide sticklers on that these kids will not move to the next level from the minor leagues unless they're able and willing to throw the ball up in the zone to see if guys will chase and get their hands on top of the ball or not.
Santana strikes out. Odorizzi gets another pair of strikeouts when he had a man in scoring position. With the former battery mate in the other dugout as manager of the Tampa Bay Rays.
A lot of former current managers and former managers who were catchers. Phil and Kevin used to be mates back in the Yankee organization. My former catcher, Lance Parrish, is a minor league coach, manager right now. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a perfect fit. Managers see everything in front of them. They have to call the game, so they understand pitching staffs. They understand how the game is played. They make great managers.
One-on-one, I'm surprised more of them are not pitching coaches. Dave Duncan is a former catcher, and he was considered to be one of the best pitching coaches, but you figure a catcher's back there and he's studying mechanics and should know a lot about pitching. Strike 1 and 2.
I kind of wonder what it's like for a catcher that becomes a manager knowing so much about pitching, and then he has a veteran pitching coach like Jim Hickey. It's like, what do you tell that guy?
Off the plate, 2 and 2.
But there is some history there that Kevin Cash can share with his young staff as a manager. You can say, hey, I know what Kevin or what Jim Hickey has told you, but you might want to try this. This is something I'm seeing.
Fouled away, still 2 and 2. It'll be Butler, Rivera, and Kiermaier in the Tampa Bay third inning. Rays were 4 games behind the first place Yankees, but then they won the last 3 games of the series to get to within a game. An important series for the Rays. They were descending down to the 500 mark, but shackled that Yankee lineup. Hughes having a tough battle with Butler to start the third inning. Breaking ball off the plate, 3 and 2. Twins 3 games behind the Royals, 2 games behind the Tigers, 3 games ahead of the White Sox, 6 games ahead of the Indians. Foul to the screen.
I guess Danny Salazar got the thing going there in Cleveland with the strikeouts against the Twins. Crazy night. Corey Kluber punched out 18 in 8 innings, and then followed up by Trevor Bauer with 10.
Another foul ball. The pitch count for Hughes mounting. The Indians haven't played well, but with that good starting pitching, the Twins have seen Salazar twice. He's been really good, and Kluber, I think it's just a matter of time before he pitches to his Cy Young Award form. 10th pitch of this at bat to start the 3rd inning. Another foul ball.
Joey Butler, he's not a spring chicken. He's, of all the guys on this team, he's 29-year-old. Been around the game a little bit, 48 days of Major League service coming into today's game, so he's had a little time in the big leagues, but pretty old to be a rookie.
Yeah, great at bat, ending with a solid single to center field. The leadoff man is on here in the 3rd. That'll bring up Rivera. Take your family to the ballpark this summer in the Minnesota Twins Our Family section, presented by Fox Sports North. Tickets in the alcohol-free section start at just $10 and include a free Schweigert hot dog and Pepsi. For ticket information, visit foxsportsnorth.com. Click on upcoming events on the Hot Topics bar. Rene Rivera drove in 4 runs, hit a big 3-run home run last night for the Rays in their series-clinching win over the Yankees at Tropicana Field. Foul into the Twins dugout. 1 strike. One of the issues for the Rays has always been revenue and attendance. They had 4 games at Tropicana Field with the Yankees and drew a total of 44,937 sold tickets. Not good.
Not good, and that's why that franchise has got to be scrutinized by baseball. You know,
it's not like they've been losing 95-100 games.
This is a team that has been in the postseason, that they continually put a good product on the field and develop good young players. I still wonder about Montreal and whether Tampa would be a good fit for that city. All the American League East would be up in the Northeast. Short plane rides.
2 strikes. Check swing. And no appeal to first base umpire Jerry Meals.
That was a little cutter right there. Phil Hughes tried to start it off at the inside part of the plate and catch that inside corner. You can see where Foxtrots had it. Probably did go around the plate a little.
1-2. Suzuki sets up outside, blocking the breaking pitch. Well, there's no question Phil Hughes is consciously throwing more breaking pitches. Hasn't picked up a strikeout yet. Two and 2. He's hoping to strike out the number 9 batter, or maybe get him to hit a ground ball to somebody. Bounced foul. Rivera caught for the Twins in 2011. Played in 45 games. Spent half the season in Rochester. 104 at bats. He only hit 144.
Well, there you go. There's Phil Hughes' pitch selection. 39 total pitches, and pretty much still fastballs, but he is throwing more breaking balls. No change-ups yet.
Weak pop-up left side. Santana calls for it. Down. And that will get us back to the top of the order, and Kevin Kiermaier.
Interesting talking to Neil Allen, who was around a lot of these young players for the Tampa Bay Rays. He was talking about Kiermaier and said that this guy will hunt fastballs, that he's really a good fastball hitter, but susceptible to the breaking ball. When he's behind in the count, he'll chase. We've seen a lot of young players do that. Phil Hughes doesn't throw a lot of breaking balls down in the dirt, but That's another thing that I'm sure that Neil Allen talked to Phil Hughes about.
Runner goes. Dozier thought about it and ends up getting the out at first base. Looked like he might have had some problems getting the ball out of his glove. We've seen Dozier with that backhanded flip, and maybe he was simply concerned that Butler was going to beat the flip.
And that's probably why Kevin Cash has him going on the first pitch. You see, it's a fastball right down the middle. And yeah, he bobbled it just enough. Butler is getting down the line quick enough. He's got to take the sure out.
Now Souza, the runner at second and 2 down. The Twins had opportunities similar to this one here. Haven't been able to get a hit against Odorizzi. Does Suzuki have a chat? Souza bounced to third his first time up. Breaking ball lifted to right, and Hunter drifting back ends the inning. Runner left at second. It's still 1-0 Tampa Bay.
Your link to what's next by NorthlandFord.com and your local Northland Ford dealer. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here.
A David DeJesus home run for the only run of the game so far. The Twins will send the top of the lineup out there against Odorizzi for their second look. Dozier hit a fly ball to right. Hunter and Bauer will follow. That is a off-speed pitch, cutter maybe for strike one. 1-1. Now you talked last inning about the philosophy for the Rays to be able to pitch high with a fastball, but you're not talking about throwing it for a strike high. You want it, or they want it up a little bit out of the strike zone, right?
Just up out of the zone. They want it to be tempting to the hitter where their eyes light up. You know, they see that big beach ball coming in because it's close to their, you know, upper part of the zone. Letter high type fastball and see if they'll chase. They want them to change eye level and rather than throwing it. Whoa!
To Dozier, that might not be a good idea. Gone. The game is tied. Dozier, a notorious high fastball hitter, and he got one up, and it is 5th home run of the year.
Well, they've got a good philosophy, but they need a better advanced scout. Because you're right, Brian Dozier can get that bat on top of those high fastballs. We're going to see it right there. Gets the hands on top. Good swing. He's so quick on the inner half, and especially on high fastballs.
Well, that's the way to celebrate a birthday.
Happy birthday.
Tie ball game. Here's Hunter, and he pops it straight up and back.
Man, the extension, the contact out in front. See that wrist explode right there upon contact. I can appreciate that swing way more today than I ever could a few years back.
Well, you're distanced from it. You're on the other side of it. Here's a nice catch by the fan. Brought his glove.
Very nice.
2 strikes to Hunter in a tie game now. And Hunter strikes out, 1 away. 4th strikeout for Odorizzi. And that'll bring up Mauer. Mauer single to right, a ground ball. And the Rays with nobody on base playing pretty straight up in his first inning at bat with Hunter on base. Souza was way over into right center field, and now he's taking a few steps in that direction. I've never seen a right fielder play as far into the gap as Souza was during the first inning at bat, but a more conventional alignment here. Mauer takes at the knees, 1-1.
Conventional wisdom would tell you that when you see the right fielder shifted that far, they're going to try to pitch you down and away and basically dare you to get up on the plate and pull the ball. It's going to be hard for Joe to hit that.
Foul back, 1-2.
Unless Odorizzi misses his spot, which he did right there. You can see the catcher, Rivera, setting down and away, and he threw it down and in. You're going to get hurt doing stuff like that.
One and 2 to Mauer. To left field, fairly deep. Butler back. On the edge of the track, out number 2.
Well, the more I watch, the more I get confused. They're pitching him down and away, and then they call for a fastball in. It's basically belt high, middle half. You can see he doesn't run it in good enough. It's right down Broadway. And Joe's trying to go to left field.
But I think, to be fair, we've seen a lot of that in the first few innings from Odorizzi, where his pitches are delivered nowhere near where Rivera wants them. Ball 1. Blue struck out with runners at second and third and 1 out in the first inning. Another guy that has shown the ability to hit a high fastball. Down and away, 2-0. Three and 0 with Suzuki on deck. Takes all the way.
You know, I think that's what's made Trevor a better hitter, though, is he was looking breaking ball right there. You could see the fastball pretty much belt high, middle of the plate, but he had to be sitting on a breaking ball.
On the ground and through for a base hit.
And then he adjusted to the fastball there and hit it hard. But yeah, you're 3-0. Hitting coaches all the time are telling you, get the pitch you want, right?
Right.
Now there's a fastball down the middle and he takes it. Why? Well, because he wasn't looking for it.
Twins with 5 hits and 13 at bats against Odorizzi. Here's Kurt Suzuki. Bounced to second to end the first inning. Both teams interested in what's happening in Kansas City tonight. Royals in first place in the Central, Yankees in the East. And right now the Royals have an early 2-0 lead. 1 strike to Suzuki.
Odorizzi came into today's game with 47 and a third innings pitched, only allowing 35 hits, so less than 10 hits less than innings pitched. And that's a sign that a guy's kind of getting his act together, young pitcher. Now he has given up the 5 hits already here in 3 innings, so that's climbing a little bit, but he's done a good job in that department also.
He's had a lot of 0-2 counts, but he's ended up filling the count. Suzuki lifts it foul over the Twins dugout. Day games tomorrow and Sunday. Twins have an off day. They actually have 2 off days next week, but Monday is an off day and a travel day to Pittsburgh. Another off day on Thursday after 2 games against the Pirates. And then the Twins will play their second series in Chicago next weekend. 2 strikes to the Twins catcher. In the dirt, and Plouffe took off as soon as he saw that ball was going to land on the dirt. Second time we've seen the Twins take an extra base. First it was Vargas in the second inning. As soon as the ball was in the dirt, they took off.
You've got to anticipate and watch Trevor Plouffe. As soon as he's done, there he goes. Not the fastest guy in the world, but you take advantage of what's given to you. And now he's in scoring position.
Twins haven't had a 2-out run producing hit yet, even though they've had threats in the first 2 innings. Check swing. No swing, 2-2. Rivera with a nice block on a breaking pitch in the dirt. Two and 2 to Suzuki. And here we go again. It's at least the 3rd time in the early innings where Odorizzi's gotten ahead 0-2 and then run the count full. He hasn't walked anybody yet.
In those 47 innings coming in today, 39 strikeouts, only 8 walks. So like Phil Hughes, he pounds the strike zone.
Got a pitch up, might have been out of the strike zone, but a foul ball.
And to your point, Dick, he's already had 5 3-ball counts. That runs your pitch count up, and in today's game, where you get to 100 and you got to go take a shower, you don't want to do that, especially with a guy that's got the kind of command that Odorizzi does.
But again, to be fair, I don't think we've seen that kind of command from him tonight. You know,
No.
he's been way off target with a lot of his pitches. Full count to Suzuki. Hit to the outfield. Might get the Twins their first lead. All back.
A lot of times you will see that from the good pitchers early in a ball game. Their command isn't quite there. It might take a couple innings before all of a sudden they're starting to dot that catcher's glove. And we'll have to watch to see if Odorizzi gets better at that. But you're right, he has misfired quite a bit. Twins have still either taken a hack at it or somehow he wiggles out of a 3-ball count.
.60 pitches, and by my Minnesota high school math, that's 20 per inning.
So that's 5 innings, am I right? We have the same school TV.
High fly to center field. And Kiermaier comes in to make the catch. Twins tie it up on the Dozier home run. It's 1 apiece after 3. the game say it's a young man's game now, and it really has become that both in baseball, basketball, hockey, and the NFL. A lot of young coaches getting a chance to jump in very early on into the coaching or managing business. Longoria with a drive to right. Hunter with the catch, one away.
Well, certainly in those four gentlemen's case, you can say God bless America. But you're seeing a trend towards that. And I think it's also fair to say that at those young ages, you really have to know somebody. You know, that's a big part of it. And you have to, in Kevin Cash's case, I'm sure he was really prepped to audition for that role. I know that the Cleveland Indian organization drilled him over and over as to what to do in a job interview for that job. And that's pretty impressive.
I just think it's remarkable what's happened in baseball, because for the first 100 plus years, to be a major league manager, you almost always had to pay your dues in the minor leagues. And it came, well, we just had Tom Kelly up here before the game. Tom paid his dues at the minor league level and was a great minor league manager, then had to coach up here for a lot of years and finally got the opportunity. That's not the case anymore. All back to the screen, still 2 strikes. Now, more often than not, when there's a hire, it's somebody. In the case of Brad Ausmus, Robin Ventura, Paul Molitor, Kevin Cash, they've never managed anywhere.
Mike Matheny, yeah, it's a tradition, or a changing of the guard, I guess, in baseball. But I guess as former players,
flared to left, and Escobar races in to make the catch, out number 2.
As former players, you can almost suspect the guys that you know are managerial candidates. You know, you talk about them, and I think players talk about it, and all of a sudden management hears some of that conversation, so they pay attention to it. Was there any surprise to you that Mike Redmond would become a major league manager? Well, I think at some point we all agreed that Mike Redmond wanted that. Number one, he wanted it. Number two, he was qualified for it. And how long he had to pay his dues was a real question. But he fell into the right organization at the right time.
Breaking ball for a called strike 1 to Logan Forsythe. I do think, though, that here Tom Kelly was the perfect man to be hired at the time, because he had so many guys in that nucleus in the minor leagues. He knew Randy Bush inside and out. He knew Ken Herbeck, Tim Laudner. And so there is that benefit, but more often than not, again, teams go the other way. 1-1 and a foul, 1-2. A lot of fly ball outs here for Phil Hughes, 3 in a row. 9 of the 11 outs have come on pop-ups and fly balls. 2 ground ball outs, no strikeouts yet.
More breaking balls, that's a definite.
Tried to clip that inside corner with that cutter. Really effective pitch for him in striking out people last year, but his control just not as fine as it was for most of the year last year.
Another cutter coming. Comes right back with it. It's front door cutter. He starts it off the plate to the right-hander on the inside part of the ball plate and tries to clip the corner. You can see the last 2 pitches, number 4 and 5 there, off the plate inside.
Chop foul.
After seeing all these breaking balls early in the game, though, from Phil, I have a feeling that if he starts getting good command on the mound, that you're going to see a lot more fastballs and cutters, because that was the 2 pitches that he really lived and died with last year.
Slow breaking ball, and he ended up walking. Hughes throwing a lot of breaking pitches with 2 strikes. Couldn't get strike 3, and now DeJesus will come up with a man aboard. Carsoup.com trivia: who holds the Tampa Bay club record for home runs in a season? Probably somebody like Fred McGriff, somebody like that.
Could be the third baseman. A whole pile of guys on that list.
He's going to try to get DeJesus out. James Loney's had great success against Phil Hughes, although Hughes has retired him twice on fly balls, and DeJesus now 7 for 11 with 2 home runs against Hughes. Tampa right side. Looks like Hughes won this battle. Dozier to Bauer. That wraps up the Tampa Bay fourth. It's still 1 apiece. Pepsi fans of the game enjoying a Friday night at Target Field. A little bit warmer here tomorrow and Sunday with the threat of some rain showers. Here is strike 1 call to Eduardo Escobar. He popped short his first time up. Escobar, Vargas, and Hicks is running their 4 switch hitters consecutively at the end of the batting order. One and one to the left fielder. Dribbler up the line. Loney tags Escobar, or did he?
He tried to sell it.
Escobar retired 1 away, and that'll bring up Vargas.
Let's take another look here. Escobar just kind of rolls over. A little ground ball down the first baseline. Loney has plenty of time to tag him, which he does, but just in case the umpire doesn't see it.
Ooh, wasn't much of a tag, was it? Vargas takes up and away ball 1. He hammered the first pitch he saw into the right field corner for a double. Vargas might have fought his way through a stretch where it seemed like he was being retired the same way time after time.
Get ahead, bounce a breaking ball.
Eddie Rosario is going through that now. And we've seen a more patient Vargas. Best time to bring it up after he got a first pitch double, but we've seen him look at some pitches, which usually means that
they're seeing the ball.
They're seeing the ball, yeah.
Yeah, track the ball. That's what they always say. Take a look. And I was curious, actually asked Paul Molitor privately. I said, I know you want the guy to swing because with one swing he can hit the ball in the seats. But I said, when he goes through a slump like that, aren't you tempted to put the take sign on and make him track a ball? And he said, you're absolutely right, Jack. You know, I'm tempted to, but you know, we got to let him swing.
Strike 3, and now Hicks will bat. May 26th is Scrubs Night at Target Field, saluting healthcare professionals in the area. A special ticket package is available that includes exclusive Twins branded scrub tops. Limited number of ticket packages available, and your only way to get your Twins scrubs. Visit twinsbaseball.com/healthcare for tickets and more information. Here's Hicks. Big hefty swing on an off-speed pitch. He was out in front, and a foul ball, 1 strike. Hicks struck out on a mid-80s pitch, his first time up. Outside, 1-1.
Odorizzi's got 5 strikeouts now through 3 2/3 inning. Phil Hughes, on the other hand, has yet to strike out. The Tampa Bay hitter.
Down the line, foul. 1-2. Twins are hopeful of getting Shane Robinson back sometime soon. Shane away on a family emergency list. 1-2. And then obviously when the Twins add Robinson, someone needs to be taken off the roster. Bounce to third. Easy play for Longoria. Across the diamond in a 1-2-3 inning. The first for Odorizzi as we head to the 5th, tied at 1.
Circle. It's the Minnesota State Lottery winner circle. 100 scratch-off tickets. By far the best sign in the building here. It's Brian Dozier's birthday, but it's also Grandma's birthday, Carrie Jo. Tell us about Grandma.
This is Marge Johnson. She's 84 today. She's from Aiken, Minnesota. Been the biggest Twins fan her entire life, I'm pretty sure.
Getting circled by Jack Morris. You share a birthday with Brian Dozier, and he hit a home run for you. How about that?
Oh, great. That was so good.
Congratulations. Big Twins fans. They love that Jack Morris is here. Going to give them a big circle right now. And yes, she shares the birthday with Brian Dozier. Everybody wins tonight. She gets 100 scratch-off tickets. Brian Dozier gets to round the bases. All at the ballpark, guys. You got to love it.
A wonderful night. To fall back, just the mere mention of Aiken, Minnesota brings back bad memories for me because I have a lot of bad high school basketball and baseball memories in Aiken.
Well, it's time to get over that.
Well, you'd think it would be, wouldn't you? It's been long enough.
Yeah.
Didn't do too well against the Aiken Gobblers. Just off the outside corner, it's 1-2. It'll be Asdrubal Cabrera, Joey Butler, and Rene Rivera in the Tampa Bay 5th inning. Cabrera hit a fly to left his first time up. And now 2-2.
Just a lot of breaking balls from Phil Hughes tonight. Something that we haven't seen yet this year, and I'm sure it's coming from Neil Allen, his pitching coach. and saying, hey, why don't you try it? See what the results are. Other than that one home run by DeJesus, Phil Hughes has been in command.
Swing and a miss, and there's his first strikeout on a breaking ball. One down. And that'll bring up Joey Butler.
You see this cutter right there that just keeps running. And Cabrera swings right over the top of it. Phil Hughes picks up his first strikeout.
Butler has the other Tampa Bay hit, a single leading off a third, a long at bat, 10 pitches, and then Butler hit a screamer into center field. One strike.
Well, right there you see that Butler was tardy on a fastball, and that could be because of the breaking balls too. Hitters start thinking about it. Just the thought alone gets their bats in between.
Well to right field. Hunter back to the wall. Playing the carom. Butler to second, and he's in with a double.
Torrey did a nice job right there, reading that ball, realizing that he wasn't going to be able to get to the wall and jump for it, so he plays it off the wall as good as you can in right field right there.
You can see he kind of stopped and started it. Right field is a very complex position to play here because of the overhang and the limestone facing. You go back, and if you don't catch it and it hits the limestone, you can see where it hits here to the side of the limestone. There's a breaking ball and a called first strike.
And that hit that Butler hit was off another fastball that was up and over the plate.
Number 9 batter Rivera, one strike. Bounce to third. Plouffe has it. 2 down with Butler stuck at second. Back at the top of the order now, and Kevin Kiermaier. Kiermaier with a fly to left and a ground ball to second. There are some great stories, team stories, in the first quarter, roughly, of the baseball season. You have the Houston Astros, 9 games above the 500 mark. Fox Tracks presented by Jeep. Check swing and a strike, leading the American League West. You have the Twins, 3 games above 500. They're a feel-good story so far this year. The Tampa Bay Rays, 4 games above 500, in contention in the East. That's to left, hanging in the air, and Escobar lets it drop. I thought he was going to catch it. It's a base hit, and the Rays take a lead on a ball landing in front of Eduardo Escobar.
Well, I saw the same thing you did. From our vantage point, it looked like the ball was going to hang up long enough and that Escobar could run it right down, but for whatever reason he kind of holds up, and that allows Butler to score.
A 2-out flare and a 2-1 Tampa Bay lead. Now here's Souza. Ooh, that ball hit the runner. A wild pickoff throw nearly sent Kiermaier at least to second base. And I think the ball was stopped near first base by the runner, not the first baseman. At the back pocket of Kiermaier and then deflected up into Mauer. Swing and a miss. One strike. Blocked by Suzuki. Had a taste of big league ball last season with Washington. This year, Steven Souza Jr. is quickly becoming a T-Mobile game changer for the Rays. And among rookie players, he's high on the list.
That's why we put up "Who Are These Guys" in the pregame show today. You see pretty darn good numbers early in his big league career.
One and one to Souza. 2-1. He's getting a big 2-out hit. The home run came with 2 outs in the second. Now a little flared single that has them back in front 2-1. Runner goes, and the pitch lifted foul. It will reach the seats. 2-2. "70 pitches for Hughes on the edge of completing the 5th inning. Would like to get more consistent deep starts from their starters. They've had some short starts on the road trip. They're able to come home from the road 3-3. Foul back.
Well, I look at Phil Hughes and his short, compact delivery, and the fact that he is able to repeat his delivery pretty consistently without putting a lot of stress on his arm. And I say to myself, pitch count should be a little higher for Phil Hughes. You know, he's not max effort in every single pitch, although he can touch the mid-90s with his fastball. He throws the cutter a lot. Tonight, we're seeing a lot of breaking balls from him. But say that Phil Hughes has done it 100 pitches, I just don't buy into it. I'm not saying 140 is the answer for him, but I'm saying, you know, if he gets to 115 and he's still effective the way it used to be done, it's about your effectiveness.
Right. 2-2 to Souza.
I remember Jim Palmer telling me a story about Earl Weaver coming out to the mound one time right after they had the radar gun for the first time in baseball.
Runner goes, and the pitch popped up. Might be playable for Mauer if he can find it in the twilight. He's there on the warning track to end it. Big 2-out hit, not hit particularly well, but it drove in a run in the 5th, and the Rays retake the lead. Outfield coach for the Twins talking with Eduardo Escobar about the 2-out single. that put the Rays in front.
Well, they can take another look at it. You can see the ball's just sort of lifted, flared out to left field. It's high enough, and yet Escobar, for whatever reason, doesn't run through the ball. Lets it drop in front of him.
Well, with 2 outs and a runner at second, he, I think would Santana jabbing at him, 1 strike. Twins have not bunted well at all in any phase, and it's not just one player. Whether it's sacrifice bunting for hits, it has been a weakness when we thought coming out of spring training it might be a strength. To the gap in left center field, Kiermaier chases it and makes a leaping catch, 1 away.
Good closing speed right there by the young center fielder. Ball looked like it was going to be a gapper off the crack of the bat, but good jump right there by Kevin Kiermaier.
1 down. And now Dozier homered to left to tie the game in the 3rd inning. He motions to bunt and takes ball 1.
I thought it was interesting listening to your broadcast with Roy Smalley and Roy talking about Rod Carew, how he would always make sure that his head was still and that he didn't run out of the box until he made contact. Then he ran. And if you're a good bunter and you can place the ball where you want to and trust your leg speed, Danny Santana can run, Jordan Schaefer can run, Brian Dozier can run, but you see a lot of times the guys are running out of the box before they actually make contact.
What Roy said and what Rod has said regarding bunting, the placement of the bunt is so much more important than starting to run
the
right
element
away.
of surprise, yeah.
2-1. Hit to Cabrera. 2 down.
We saw a little bit of a shift right there for Brian Dozier.
That'll bring up Torrey Hunter. Update on tonight's DraftKings players to watch. Torrey Hunter has a single. David DeJesus has a home run. Bartolo Colon has one of his worst starts of the year. 5 earned runs, 7 hits, couple of home runs. Michael Pineda is developing into an ace pitcher for the New York Yankees. Strike 1 to Hunter. Kansas City has a lead 2-1 in the 5th in that game in Kauffman Stadium. 1-1. Hunter with a single got as far as 3rd base in the 1st inning, and then he struck out in the 3rd. Swing and a miss, 1-2.
Well, for Torrey Hunter, I think you just have to visualize that you're hitting in Cleveland because the series that he had there was off the charts.
7 for 7 at one point, foul ball. And the hit, I mean, there wasn't a flare among them.
No.
He just absolutely smoked the ball. Home runs, doubles. 1 and 2. And hit right at Cabrera. Odorizzi has a 1-2-3 fifth. It's 1-0 Tampa Bay. Tonight's Coors Banquet timeless moment. On this date in 1941, Joe DiMaggio began his 56-game hitting streak with a hit against White Sox pitcher Edgar Smith. The Yankee outfielder would collect at least one hit in every game until July 17th, when the streak was snapped in Cleveland. And the longest hitting streak since belongs to the Twins manager. In 1987, Paul Molitor hit in 39 straight. 1-0 to Longoria, and a strike 1-1. Molitor's streak ended under unique circumstances in Milwaukee, and of course, even back then, there was a lot of national attention on Molitor's hitting streak because no one knew when or if it was going to end. Molitor with a 39-game hitting streak, but in the 40th game he was in the on-deck circle, and Rick Manning got a game-winning hit, and Manning still talks about it, how it was the only time you get a walk-off hit and you got booed because the fans there wanted to see Molitor get one more opportunity. Here's Manning's game-winning hit, and the Brewers won it. And the fans at County Stadium, at least some of them, weren't too happy. Longoria one down with a strikeout. Here's Loney. Loney with a fly to center and a fly to left. Strike over the inside corner.
Well, Phil Hughes on some kind of roll right now. That's 14 consecutive hitters that he's thrown the first pitch strike to. And that's what you like to see out of your pitcher. Get ahead in the count.
1-1.
He's trailing in this ball game by a run.
And that breaking ball around the outside corner. 2-1. Hughes last year pitched 209 2/3 innings. That ball is hit fair between Bloof and the line. Loney will round first and go to second. Here comes Escobar's throw. He's got a good arm on target. Out at second base. Another perfect throw from Eduardo Escobar.
Escobar did a really good job of getting the ricochet off the corner there and getting to the ball quick enough. Loney, I think, just thought that ball was going to go all the way to the foul pole corner, and he wasn't exactly busting his tail around first base. You can see Escobar as he picks up the ball, throws a strike over to Brian Dozier, and I'd like to see if that was actually an applied tag or not. But he's still out, and Loney knew it.
One strike. Escobar didn't catch the little pop-up off the bat of Kiermaier, and the Rays were able to take the lead, but a strong throw. Tapper to short, and the result of which is a throw by Santana, but Mauer with the catch and the tag. A quick sixth with the Rays sending just 3 to the plate.
The Toyota Time Sales Event ends June 1st. Hurry in today. Toyota, let's go places. By Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for the everyday competitor in all of us. And by McDonald's. Try the new 100% sirloin third-pound burgers, starting at $4.99 at McDonald's.
Twins down a run. Joe Mauer will lead off the sixth. Let's see if he tries to drop down a bunt here. Danny Santana and Brian Dozier had bunting intentions. And Mauer takes strike one. Longoria playing a deep third base, and Joe is probably the best bunter on the team. And he may be the only guy with a bunt single.
It's almost like Longoria is just saying, I dare you. I double dare you.
Up and away, and with one strike, of course, the chances of him doing that aren't as strong. But we've seen Joe drop bunts up the third baseline when given the opportunity over the years. 1-1. And a foul back, 1-2. Mauer with a single to right in the first, a fly ball to left in the third. Hit the ball fairly well, but to the warning track. We've seen that a couple hundred times here at Target Field. Twins down a run. They have not gotten a leadoff man on, although Dozier did hit a leadoff home run in the third. Tapper to the right side. Odorizzi falls down. There's nobody on the first base bag. Loney committed to the ball, and the pitcher and the first baseman didn't communicate very well there.
Well, from our vantage point, you could see that Odorizzi was not going to get to that ball. And somehow he's just got to finish it off at first base because Loney's right there behind him. But you're right, it's got to be communication. Somebody has to say, I have it, I have it. And I don't think that ever took place. See, Logan Forsythe tried to get over there, but that's almost as good as the Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Well, not a bunt up the third baseline, but a swinging bunt up the right field, right side, first base side. Here's Trevor Plouffe.
Ken Herbeck was just in our booth.
Yeah.
And we saw him take a considerably bigger divot than that.
Rays a pull shift for Plouffe. He fouls it over the Twins dugout.
That almost looked like Trevor was trying to shoot the ball to the right side there. He sees that he's got the entire right side of the infield to play with right now, with Loney holding Joe Mauer on at first base.
Maybe seeing that swing. Now Forsythe has been brought over to the first base side of second base. And a liner to off the glove of Cabrera. He's not made an error all year long, and that ball was hit very hard, but right to his backhand side. It should be an error. And the Twins catch a break from the usually reliable Tampa Bay defense. Says something, doesn't it, that the Rays have not had an error from a shortstop, and here we are almost a quarter away through the season.
So it is an error for Cabrera.
Nobody out, first and second, and now here's Suzuki. Rays took advantage of not a misplay, but a no play in left field to get their second run. We'll see if the Twins can take advantage of this mistake. Suzuki squares to bunt, but took ball one.
Well, in these low-scoring games, you can see how important defense is. Routine balls. That ball was hit hard. We both acknowledge that. But it's a ball I'm sure that Cabrera said I should have had. Might have been even able to double up Joe Mauer. I didn't see how far off the bag Joe was, but
high pop-up infield fly rule should be called here. And is. Suzuki's out, one down. Suzuki thought about bunting on the first pitch, then swinging away. It's been trapped doing that a lot, hitting pop-ups and fly balls. You can combine your love of the Twins and the College of St. Benedict and St. John's University by attending CSB SJU Night at Target Field on June 17th. Find out how to see the game. Receive a limited edition red and white Twins cap. Visit twinsbaseball.com/ SJU for tickets and more info. One down.
That's a lot of letters.
Here's Escobar. 0 for 2. And he pops it up, but this one will spin near the tarp and out of play. Funny how the game comes back to you with Escobar to this point involved with the difference-making play, but given time, the game will circle back and maybe give you an opportunity, and that's what Escobar has here, a chance to not only tie the game up, but put the Twins in front.
Well, you're absolutely right. Runner in scoring position. Escobar has done a great job with the bat in his hand for Paul Molitor and the Minnesota Twins. Hitless in today's game would be a great opportunity for him to get something going.
He taps it, foul. Odorizzi has done a nice job, I think, keeping Twins hitters off balance since the first couple innings. And Gomes warming up in the Tampa Bay bullpen. We've seen a lot of mid-80s pitches and Twins hitters out on their front foot. It happened to Mauer earlier this inning, and that time to Escobar.
Well, that's the changeup that Alex Cobb, his teammate, has showed him.
It's blocked by Rivera, 1 and 2.
But right now, Odorizzi is in jeopardy of ending his streak of getting into the 7th inning. He's at 95 pitches.
Twins had a great scoring chance in the first, a good scoring chance in the second.
That's a good stat right there. You saw the speed range from Jake Odorizzi. Jim Hickey on the phone to his bullpen.
That's lifted to left, playable for Butler. 2 down, and that'll leave this rally in the 6th to Kenny Vargas. Vargas ripped a double into the right field corner in his first at bat and then struck out in the 4th. What you're looking for from young players in the development stage up here in the big league, guys like Vargas and Santana, Rosario, aptitude. You're looking for the ability to learn and not be put out retired the same way all the time, whereas Paul Molitor says you don't want to get the reputation in the other team scouting report that you don't have to throw a strike to get them out. And we said earlier that Vargas showing some signs of some aptitude and adapting to how he's being pitched. Taking ball 1. When he was held out of the lineup for a few days during the homestand, the Twins pitched batting practice to him, but they weren't the least bit concerned about his swing. They threw him pitches in the dirt, in the cage, just to get him to recognize what was a strike and what was not a strike.
These are the situations that's so hard on a young guy, too. You want to be the hero. You want to be the guy to break the game wide open. Kenny Vargas is up here with 2 runners on. A home run right here puts his team up by 2 runs. So, you know, it's hard not to cheer for him. But that being said, he's got to get a pitch he can handle.
At the very least, with the count now 2-0, he should get a strike to swing at, which a week and a half ago might not have happened. Knocked down by Odorizzi, and he pitches out of a jam. The error by Cabrera does no damage, and on to the 7th, and a 2-1 game. the story of the game. That's what we've got.
David DeJesus, second inning, home run off of Phil Hughes, puts Tampa up 1-0. Then Brian Dozier in the next third inning ties the game up with a home run of his own. Top of the fifth inning, after a leadoff double, Kevin Kiermaier loops the ball in front of Eduardo Escobar, and that scores Joey Butler for the game's second run for Tampa, and they're leading right now 2-1.
David DeJesus will lead off the seventh against Phil Hughes. Second start in a row where Hughes is throwing pitches in the seventh inning. In his last start, he went 6 1/3 innings against the Indians. And the seventh inning was not a good inning for him. He ended up being taken out, charged with 3 more runs. 1 strike to DeJesus. Breaking ball, missing, and it's 1-1.
Kind of says it all right there. Both starters in good shape. Pitch count getting a little the best of Jake Odorizzi, but he looks like he wants to go back out, and probably will go back out for the seventh inning.
Missing inside 2-1.
Phil Hughes' best game for the Twins this year was probably his game out in Seattle against Felix Hernandez. Very fast played game. Both pitchers just pounding the strike zone. He'll ended up losing that game, but probably his best pitch game. And like you said, Dick, some of his other starts, he's pitched well in between some kind of lousy innings.
Right.
And that's what's built his ERA up. Just a couple innings that have gotten away from him. Tonight so far, he's kept that a lot more manageable with just the 2 runs allowed.
2-2 to DeJesus. And now a full count. Asdrubal Cabrera on deck. Hughes with 1 walk. He walked Forsythe with 2 out in the 4th. Foul back. Soup.com trivia question. Club record for home runs in a season. Yeah, I'm going to go Fred McGriff. Carlos Pena with 46.
We forgot about him. A couple very good years after leaving Detroit, going down to Tampa.
Never hit for much average, but he was a guy who would walk a lot, strike out a lot, and hit a lot of home runs. And Hughes finally strikes out DeJesus. 1 down, took a little bit off.
Yeah, it looked like a changeup or something.
A little bit of a smirk by DeJesus as he heads back to the dugout. What was this? Maybe just a BP fastball or something?
Strike 3, whatever it was.
It's all that matters. 1 down. Here's Cabrera. Cabrera for 2, a fly to left and a strikeout. Breaking ball over, strike 1. In his defense, we've seen a lot more breaking balls here, but early on in the season he had a nail problem, and
split finger.
Yeah, I would imagine that consciously or subconsciously that's got to affect your breaking ball more than anything else if you've got a split nail in your pitching hand.
No question about it. You're really not allowed to snap your fingers through the ball. You need that spin on a curve ball.
2 strikes. You hear of pitchers who've had a split nail and they super glue it together or whatever, but one start when the problem first came up early in the season, he said he felt something. He looked and his hand was a bloody mess. See, 25% breaking balls.
That's a lot better. That's a lot better than what he's done in the past this year.
Cutter pulled foul, and we say fastballs, that includes a 4-seamer and the cut fastball that he uses. Sure. One and 2 to Asdrubal Cabrera. That's to left and hit right at Escobar. Ball number 2.
Another off-speed breaking ball right there, and he's getting the Rays to be out a little in front of the ball. Cabrera lunging a little there.
Butler has 2 hits. Line drive single to center and a double off the fence in right. Michael Tonka and Aaron Thompson warming up. If Hughes would love to at least finish 7 innings here, give his team a chance to score him a couple runs, maybe get a win here tonight. Another first pitch, breaking ball for a called strike.
Well, we talked about it earlier that Phil Hughes has got a very good breaking ball, and he can command it down. He's going back to the breaking ball.
I still have an image in your 1 year with the Twins. By the time you came to the Twins, you had developed not an eephus pitch, but a straight changeup, and you regularly would throw it on the first pitch. And asking you about it years ago, you said, well, you knew the hitter wasn't going to swing at it because he wasn't expecting it. And you felt it was a great way to get ahead of the hitter 0-1.
It's a free strike if you can throw it for a strike. For me, that was, it was almost too slow to hit. So they'd take it. They'd freeze.
1-2. Breaking ball and just getting a piece of it is Butler.
Well, I give Phil Hughes credit for reading Butler right here. He's thrown him a couple fastballs, and he's able to have gotten 2 hits, a single and a double on those fastballs. And all of a sudden, he's exposed to weakness. Not such a great swing with the breaking ball, so he's sticking with it. Well, he wants the heater, see if he can get him away.
Tapper to short. Santana fires to Mauer. The 1-2-3-7 for Phil Hughes. Twins are down 2-1.
Will continue Saturday on Fox Sports North. Join us at 12:30. Trevor May scheduled to start for the Twins as they play the second game of the 3-game set against Tampa. 12:30 Saturday right here on Fox Sports North.
Phil Hughes with 7 innings, 7 really good innings. But the Twins are down a run, 2-1. Here's Aaron Hicks, strike 1 from Jake Odorizzi. Hicks, Santana, and Dozier. Twins down a run.
I'd have loved to have heard that conversation right there. After talking to Neil Allen today and knowing Phil Hughes the way I do, I got to believe that was a lot about that breaking ball.
Hicks lines one sharply to left field, and the leadoff man is on here in the 7th. 5 hits since the call-up for Hicks, 4 of them from a side of the plate he gave up on last year.
Good to see. He gets a fastball up and over the plate. He's not trying to pull the ball here. He goes with it, shoots the ball out to left field with authority.
And now Longoria to the mound to talk to his pitcher. I don't see much of that anymore. Used to be infielders, shortstops, many times had come to the mound. You may not have liked it.
I was going to say it made me laugh. I wouldn't mind Lou Whitaker, who never came to the mound. I heard Lou's version of that during the offseason this winter. But Alan Trammell, he could come to the mound. My third baseman, I don't know what they'd ever come to the mound for. But it was a sign from the dugout is what it was.
Maybe some discussion about a bunt play and, who's going to cover what.
I remember Darnell Coles came to the mound one time. He said, Jack, I'm just coming out here because he told me to. And I go, okay, you've been here long enough. You can leave now.
Hicks dives back. Santana looked at bunting but took ball one on the first pitch. Santana tried to bunt on the first pitch he saw in the fifth. Missed and then lined out to center field. Hooked into the corner. Hicks can fly. He'll go to second. He'll go to third. He's rounding third and coming home. Danny Santana on his way to third, and he's in with a stand-up RBI triple.
Pretty good hitting right there, Danny Santana. And Phil Hughes got to be pleased with getting through his half of the seventh inning. Just like you had mentioned, maybe the Twins can get him a couple runs. Now they're in a position to get him the go-ahead run. Kevin Cash has seen all he wants out of his right-hander. He's going to go to the pen.
Hicks scores. And you see again why Aaron Hicks is so important to the Twins and their chances of staying relevant this year. His ability to get on base as a leadoff man, the ability to score because of his speed. The 8 and 9 hitters come through. We're tied in a pitching change for the Rays in a tie game. It's a tie game. The go-ahead run at third, nobody out. I told you about the impressive numbers for the Rays pitching staff. It goes beyond the rotation. We got a very good bullpen too. Look at Kevin Jepson's opponent batting average, sub 200.
He last pitched a couple days ago against the Yankees. Yeah, up and down that bullpen, starting pitching. The Tampa Bay Rays have done a great job. Good to see the Twins kind of getting to Jake Odorizzi, giving Phil Hughes a chance to maybe win this ball game.
On his 28th birthday, Brian Dozier has already homered. He's got a drawn-in infield and the go-ahead run at third. Strike on the outside corner.
I was listening to your broadcast on Mother's Day when Brian said that maybe Mom's starting to get used to the idea of home runs on Mother's Day, and maybe his birthday might be the same thing.
One strike to Dozier. to center. Caught by Kiermaier. Santana streaking home, and the Twins take the lead.
Good job by Brian Dozier squaring up that ball. You got the speed of Danny Santana on third base. You just need to lift the ball to the outfield. It's going to take a perfect throw. And Danny Santana scores the go-ahead run. Now Phil Hughes in line to maybe win this ball game if the Twins can hang on.
A 3-2 Twins lead, 1 out, and here is Torrey Hunter. Torrey waited on a breaking ball and bounced it foul behind Butch Davis. Now the Twins have played good baseball, and it's been a good month of May for them, but there have been a couple of really frustrating 2-1 losses. And here we were stuck at 2-1 until this bottom of the 7th inning. On the ground to Cabrera. 2 down. In the midst of that wonderful homestand where the Twins won 8 and lost 3 in the Oakland series, the one game they lost was 2-1. And then on the road in Detroit, in the opening game of that series, they lost 2-1. Now it's nice to have well-pitched ball games and all that, but you'd like to win those games. Here is Mauer. Pulled a single into right field in the first, and then hit a number between the mound and first base and got an infield single leading off the 6th. Tapper to second. Forsythe as the play makes it. Twins score a couple in the 7th, and for the first time tonight, they've got a lead at 3-2. Hooking a triple into the right field corner. Both guys score, and now Blaine Boyer has been a great story for the Twins this year, signing a minor league deal, and now here he is, crunch time in the 8th inning, has to get 3 outs.
He's become the setup man for Glenn Perkins, and Paul Mahler's got a lot of faith in this guy. He's really picked up his velocity after the first couple of weeks where he admitted that he had something going on. He fixed his flaw, and boy, he's been very, very good lately. Eddie Rosario has also taken over Eduardo Escobar in left field.
Rene Rivera, the leadoff batter for the Rays here in the 8th inning. Busted bat and a base hit. Rivera leaving a chunk of wood to the left of the mound, to the right of home plate, but it's a leadoff single here in the 8th inning. Rivera Mauer's backup. as catcher a few years ago for the Twins.
That bat died a hero. We have a pinch runner now. Tim Beckham going to run for Rivera.
So tying run at first. Nobody out. Kevin Kiermaier at the plate. Kiermaier dumped the pop fly single in front of Eduardo Escobar in the 5th. Trip 2 2/3 innings and 2 appearances, 2 hits, of course no runs allowed. To left center field, Hicks for the catch. Boyer's thrown 2 pitches and finished 2 at bats. He might have cracked 2 bats. 1 down, and now Souza.
I mentioned last inning of what Aaron Hicks brings to the plate with his leg speed, but what he brings to the outfield with his ability to roam that outfield. Just got a great jump right there and was able to coast to the ball and read that ball off the bat. That's something that, I mean, guys either have or don't have. It's kind of a God-given talent to be able to see and understand where that ball will be within a few feet of its trajectory.
Souza jabs at it, 1 strike.
I figure I took as many fly balls as most outfielders did during my time in the big leagues as a shagger for batting practice. Never could read a ball. I didn't know if it was coming in front of me or behind me.
One strike to Souza. Suzuki digs it out. I've said this before. To me, one of the most amazing things about all the years we had indoor baseball here, we had great center field play. When outfielders will talk about the acoustics being an important part of their getting a jump and seeing, hearing how well a ball is hit, and the acoustics in the Metrodome were not usual, shall we say. 1-1 to Souza. Turned 30 ground ball double plays on the season. This is game 36 on the year.
Pitcher's best friend, that ground ball double play. Blaine Boyer could use one right here. Doing his part in trying to pull that runner. And Beckham, good base runner.
Beckham has 2 steals and 3 tries. The Rays have 18 stolen bases, but they've been thrown out 13 times. That gets through Suzuki. And Suzuki's so good at blocking pitches. We've seen it in evidence again here tonight. And the ball went right through the 5-hole.
Now watch, it goes down, but the ball just a little bit of coming up, and the ball stayed down.
It's ruled a wild pitch, but they're very upset with himself that that ball got to the backstop. So now the tying run at second, and a 2-1 count. Time called with Beckham dancing farther away from second base. Dozier trying to keep him close. Of course, that opens up the right side of the infield.
Yeah, that pass ball, wild pitch, whatever you want to call it, in this case a wild pitch, really does change the dynamics here. You got Boyer, who is holding a runner on. You're trying to get a ground ball and induce a double play.
Half swing. 2-2.
And by Beckham getting down to second base, of course, that takes him out of the double play.
Longoria on deck. Two and two to Souza. Just inside with a 95-mile-per-hour fastball. Souza has good power. Boyer really wants to get him here to give him some options during the Longoria at bat. The first base now open. Broken bat single and wild pitch have given the Rays a chance here with one out in the eighth. Struck him out. Two down. Quickly, let's go to Kevin Gorg, who's got Phil Hughes.
First off, Phil, it looked like you had your good stuff tonight. Take us through your start.
Well, besides the De Jesus homer there early on, I felt like I was able to, kind of navigate, a couple situations and make some quality pitches when I had to. Hopefully Blaine can nail down the eighth inning and we can get Perkin for the night.
Jack Morris remarked in the broadcast about your curveball. How important was that pitch for you this evening?
Yeah, it was huge. I mean, I talked to Neil on numerous occasions of throwing that more. And as a pitcher, you go out there, and it may be a great idea, but if you don't have confidence with it, you're not going to use it. And tonight, it was good in the pen, so I said, let's go, let's throw this thing. It's Kurt, and it was actually a really big pitch for me and got me out of some tough at-bats where otherwise I would have had to come with a fastball or maybe a cutter.
Well done. Hope to see the Twins lead hold up here. Congrats.
I do too. Thanks. Bye.
Phil Hughes left down one, now up one for the Twins.
Thank you, Kevin, and thank you, Phil. 1-0 to Evan Longoria with Beckham at second and 2 away. Missed the inside corner. Better reach back, and we've seen a couple of 95-mile-per-hour fastballs.
Well, this is a power sinker right there, and he keeps it down. You can almost tell by the reaction of Souza there that frustration of swinging out of the zone. That's exactly what Boyer wanted him to do. It was a huge out right there. A tough hitter at the plate right now.
2-0 count, first base open. High fly left field. Rosario under it. Another scoreless outing for Blaine Boyer, and the Twins' one-run lead is preserved.
ball game. Stay with us directly after the game for Twins Live, presented by CenturyLink. We'll talk about a terrific pitcher's duel tonight. Phil Hughes still stands to be the victor, the guy we just heard from. Both teams take advantage of some mistakes out in the field, and we'll put you inside the Twins clubhouse and sit down with Twins manager Paul Maurer, who's looking for the bullpen now to make it last.
What a job by Boyer. He's now got 15 scoreless innings in a row after a rough start.
Well, he's become that setup man for the guy who's warming up right now in the Twins pen. That's Glenn Perkins, who's done a great job in the closing end of the game. So
Brandon Gomes into pitch, Bobby Wilson into catch. Trevor Plouffe will hit to start the bottom of the 8th. First pitch, got him out on that front foot again, and a pop up. Cabrera catch, 1-0. One down, that'll bring up Kurt Suzuki. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is celebrating 13 years. You can watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in true HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, widget, and more. Every night on every device, visit MLB.TV for details. One down, and here's Suzuki. Strike one, the call. Fox Tracks presented by Carrier. Everybody else in the division is winning tonight, including the Tigers 5-0 over the Cardinals. On the right field line, Souza has a very long run and a nice running catch before he runs into the sidewall. 2 down. Fair ball catch for out number 2. Tomorrow, 2 legendary fighters square off in a special 9 a.m. edition of UFC Fight Night, as former champion Frankie Edgar takes on the California kid Uriah Faber for the first time. UFC Fight Night is actually going to be in the morning here, but it's live from Manila. At least they had the good sense not to call it a Thrilla in Manila. It's tomorrow at 9 in the morning, only on Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Here's Rosario hitting in what was Escobar's spot. Saturday morning is viewing. That is a fair ball down the line past a reaching Loney. Rosario will dig for 2. And he's got a double with 2 gone in the 8th. Hugging the line and just getting under the glove of Loney for a double. And that'll get Vargas to the plate.
Well, like Aaron Hicks, Eddie Rosario's got good speed. You can see that ball just going right over the bag and going to make it an easy double for Eddie. Now he's in scoring position. Boy, this is a huge run. Jim Hickey's going to take a little time to talk to his pitcher. A huge run for the Twins to get that insurance run, give Glenn Perkins a little breathing room out in the bullpen.
Vargas will hit, facing Gomes. Jim Hickey ran to the mound, and he'll trot back. Vargas doubled his first time up, then struck out in the 4th. Hit a one-hopper, snagged by Odorizzi, and then threw him out with 2 men on and 2 out in the 6th. Breaking ball low and with first base open. Suspect that the Rays will pitch Vargas carefully. Breaking ball over for a strike. Rosario with good speed at second has a healthy lead. Swing and a miss. Another off-speed pitch, and Vargas slaps his helmet in frustration.
Yeah, it's just kind of a tough situation. Ken just wants to be the hero here, drive in that run, and then when you expand the zone on him and have him swing out of the zone, it's frustrating.
In the dirt, 2-2. Blocked by Wilson.
Gomes smart enough to realize that why not? I'll go right back to it and see if I can get him to chase.
And of course, it snowballs on you because in Detroit, this situation or something similar to this, Tigers got Vargas once throwing a fastball right down the middle because he's used to seeing two-strike breaking stuff.
Well, that's just it. After chasing out of the zone so much, you're going to miss your pitches.
3-2 with Hicks on deck.
When our hitters are locked in, it seems like they never offer at a pitch that is not a strike. They just have an uncanny ability to know the strike zone, which leads them to be better hitters.
Got him on a breaking ball. That'll take us to the 9th inning. The Twins leading 3-2. A save opportunity for Glenn Perkins. Glenn Perkins handed a 3-2 lead. He'll face the middle of the Tampa Bay lineup: James Loney, Logan Forsythe, and David DeJesus. A lefty, a righty, and two lefties. So you'd think to yourself, well, that sets things up pretty well for Glenn Perkins. But in one of the oddest statistical anomalies in baseball this year, left-handed batters are hitting .500 against Glenn Perkins, and Perkins has been overwhelmingly dominant against right-handers. Answer me this, Jack Morris. How can that be possible?
Well, I'll say as the worm will turn.
Deep to center. Hicks going back with room. One down.
See, the averages just changed right there. So hang with him. And, you know, all I can say is really he's 11 for 11, right? In save opportunities.
Yes.
And I have to look, but his innings probably about 20 maybe.
Left-handers were 8 for 16 against him before the Loney at bat. Right-handers 3 for 41. One quick out. Here's Forsythe. And there is strike one. Fastball up and in, 1-1.
I'll throw a question back at you, Mr. Baseball guy. Why is it that some of the greatest relievers are guys you just don't want to watch pitch? You just wait till it's over, tell me what's happening.
Hicks will track this one. Still gliding into the gap, and he makes it look easy. 2 down. And now to Jesus. Time now for What's Next, brought to you by CenturyLink. And it'll be Alex Colomé going against Trevor May. 1 o'clock start pregame at 12:30. Brandon Guyer pinch hitting for DeJesus.
Which means that Kevin Cash has used all of his bench players.
First pitch at the knees over the inside corner at 96 miles per hour. Swing and a miss on the slider. To left field, a base hit. And the Rays still alive with Guyer's pinch hit single, and that will get switch hitting Asdrubal Cabrera to the plate.
So if you're Asdrubal Cabrera and you look at those numbers, you go up there hitting left-handed or right-handed?
Well, he's had pretty good success. Perkins with the slider, saw Guyer spank it into left. Cabrera 4 for 9 with a pair of doubles against Perkins. To right field, and Hunter traps it. The ball thankfully doesn't get by him. Cabrera now 5 for 10 against Perkins. Tying run at second, 2 down, and Joey Butler to the plate. Back-to-back pitches. That was a scary moment, and Hunter was able to glove it, and that ball gone by him. The game would have been tied.
And there has been one already this year where Torrey came in kind of like that. The ball ended up getting by him.
Butler with a single and a double against Phil Hughes.
Crowd on their feet. They want that third out.
Swing and a miss. Perkins delivering one up and in. And a wicked swing and a miss by Butler. Back to Perkins. And the Twins edge the Rays 3-2. Phil Hughes picks up his 3rd straight win. The Twins got just enough hitting done to pull out a 1-run win.
Well, such a critical 7th inning for Phil Hughes. He gets through the inning, and like you had hoped, like we had both hoped, the Twins score him a couple runs. He puts himself in position to win, and the bullpen comes in and does a great job. Good pitching all around by the Twins pitching staff tonight.
Tom Hanneman, the Twins improved their home record to 13-5 in 2015.
Dick, the Twins continue to feel right at